These include, and we've mentioned many, but just to name a couple others, 3.3 million for being LGBTQ in the Caribbean, and 37.6 million for sex workers, their clients, and transgender individuals in South Africa. While I acknowledge the complex global changes USAID seeks to address, we must ask a fundamental question. Are we truly fulfilling our responsibility to the American people when we allocate tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for programs abroad?
Today, Congress has pulled the veil back, flipped the lid off, and is fully exposing USAID and the treasonous way that they have been working against America. And this is going to blow your mind. In this video, I'm going to share several clips, and this is coming straight out of the horse's mouth. These are the congressional members, Republican congressional members, addressing witnesses that work at USAID, because people might have thought that they were just spending the money on LGBTQ and diversity programs, which are insane. But when you hear how they've been funding our sworn enemies, when you hear some of the other things that they've been funding, you are going to be blown back. And you're going to want people to be called to task publicly on national TV when you hear the rest of what's going to be exposed in this video. So make sure you watch the video in its entirety. I'm going to share the clips. I'm also going to share a little bit of commentary. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. Check this first clip out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your efforts in organizing this important hearing, and thank you to our witnesses for your testimonies today. So today's hearing has provided a target-rich environment of examples of funding allocations that, while perhaps they were intended for worthy causes, in my opinion, they raise serious questions about our priorities and where our focus truly lies. These include, and we've mentioned many, but just to name a couple others, 3.3 million for being LGBTQ in the Caribbean, and 37.6 million for sex workers, their clients, and transgender individuals in South Africa.
Now, did you hear that? 36 million for sex workers, their clients, and transgenders. That's real. 36 million on that. Now, that's not where it stops. It gets worse. Listen as staff members of USAID attempt to even respond to why or how that went wrong. Check this out.
So my question to our witnesses is very simple. What went wrong, and why did the oversight measures fail to prevent taxpayer money from being spent on wasteful programs that don't put America first?
Accountability and transparency, and it's this body, and I was a part of this body. We didn't do our job, is what I feel. You know, the American people sent us up here to do something. We hear the IG reports, you know, this person that got fired, he got fired. He was the IG, made a report, gets fired. There's an IG report every year. We don't act. And if we don't act, this is what happens. You know, we complain about everything that's bad, and then we don't act. And then when somebody like Trump comes in, and there'll be somebody after that. And when they come in and they do this, we get upset. You know, we've got to fix Congress. That's why people send us here.
I would also add that what I've seen over the past 25 years is the progressive left has gradually just seized control over the entire foreign aid industrial complex. And that's something the political sociology of the industry has to be changed. If we're not, otherwise we're going to have this same vicious circle occur again and again.
Do me a solid. Would you hit that like button? Because I'll never ask you for a cash out. I'll never ask you for a super chat. But you hitting that like button, that is currency, because it helps spread the video around. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. On this channel, I share political and current events, and also selling tips and techniques. So hit that subscribe button. And when you do, click the notification bell and select all. That way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Boom. Did you hear that? He flat out said the progressive left has taken control of USAID, and that's why things have gone off the rails. And it's a fact. When you start realizing who was involved, who ran that organization, it was started under Jimmy Carter, who was a far leftist. And these folks have used it as a personal piggy bank to attack their political enemies and to subvert foreign nations' democratically elected governments that they disagree with ideologically. So if it's somebody in leadership who doesn't want LGBTQ type things celebrated in their country, they don't want sex change for minors in their country, this slush fund will take those resources and fund the opposition. So when we hear about rebels and things like that in other places, are they really rebels, or are they people fighting for the right cause? But our liberal media makes them appear like we're radicals when really they're the ones trying to keep the people safe. It makes you really question a lot of the crap that comes off of that, those talking heads on the TV. Now, check out these next clips, because these congressional members really start bringing it to them. Check out this next one.
So I want to salute you, because you said that you did the job, you were the administrator, that you went line by line, that you were cleaning up the different programs, that you took your job very seriously. But apparently we are in different times. And I'm just going to share with you, within the time that I have, 3 programs coming from Latin America, which I think that are highly embarrassing. Let's start with Venezuela. And here's the video that Chairman played before. Venezuelans, they're fleeing Marxism. They're hungry. The average Venezuelan weighs 15 pounds less because of lack of food. We know that Chavez has destroyed the country. They make it to Ecuador. I mean, they're tired. And then they encounter that the United States, which is the beacon of hope, is offering this program to become a drag queen. So I think there's something wrong with that picture. And I'm not sure if we can play it again, but I just wanted your opinion.
Well, that particular program was a State Department program. And I have great respect for the State Department, but I think it's appalling they did it, to be very frank with you.
So you do not agree with those $35,000?
No, I don't. I think we should stick with our basic mission.
Yeah, well, but you agree that they have not under you.
Oh, no, they have not.
They have not.
And
okay,
I think
so
that needs to be
I just want to
changed.
hear your thoughts, because unfortunately
Just one comment.
essence. $2 million for Native Indians in Guatemala. President Giammattei called me. I mean, I've never had a president from a country saying, I don't want the United States money. I mean, highly conservative. These are the Native Indians in Guatemala, people who are just, flipping the tortillas, and they just want to learn how to do a job, not sex change surgeries. What do you think about that?
That's beyond what this AID mission is. I don't think.
Good. That's all we need to know. Peru, in the Amazon. This is the jungle. This is not Jeff Bezos' Amazon. This is like where people have harsh conditions. They need mosquito nets to fight malaria. So $25,000 for diversity recruitment events. What is a diversity recruitment event in the middle of the jungle?
I have no idea. Congressman, just one comment. You can move aid to do what you want by hiring a development professional, a conservative, who knows how to manage a large, complex operation. Mark Green was such a person, under Trump.
But then what happened between your time and this time? Tell me, what happened?
Well, politics gets involved.
Oh.
You saw what he tried to do there? He tried to bring up the guy, Mark Green, and was trying to bring Trump into it. And she wasn't having it. She said, no. What happened between your time and now? You saw how he froze up and even had to laugh and say, oh, politics. Exactly. And he said the quiet part out loud.
Oh, politics. But then Elon Musk comes and tries to clean politics and go back to the original mission of the program. Is that correct?
I think it would be useful if Musk and some of his staff would go to the field and see the projects.
Well,
I think they would take a different view.
I'm sure they don't have time, sir, to do that. But what I'm saying is that he did something that, according to what you just explained, it brings benefit to the USAID programs.
The USAID staff do what the political appointees tell them to do.
Now, how should we take that? Do we take that as, okay, then that's just outright under the Biden administration, under the Obama administration, they really wanted to take the U.S. down because that's all that money was being used for. There's nothing positive about that money. Now, granted, are there programs that they're providing services to people that are beneficial? Yes. And you want to know something? President Trump has allowed those. It's like they stormed the congressional hearing yesterday, and they had these signs saying, tell Trump to unfreeze it was some HIV drug or AIDS drug. Little did those lefty lunatics know that President Trump had already unpaused that, which shows you, and the congressman who was in charge of the hearing literally said out loud, matter of fact, if I can find the clip, I'm gonna put it in. The congressman who was over there hearing literally told them, he said, hey, somebody needs to tell them, maybe they should watch Fox News because it's already been revealed that President Trump fixed that. But let's get into the next clip. Now in this clip, we got Congressman Scott Perry, who is going to let loose on the BS that's within this doggone USAID list of fraudulent payments that have gone out. Now, when you hear what's involved in this one, this is the one that ties it all together and names names of who that are on the, that are as of our sworn enemies, or of our sworn enemies who USAID have been funding as they strategically put together their counter programs that will hurt Americans. And these are our own congressional members. These are the bureaucrats working in DC that are funding these groups. It's flat out treasonous. And we would have never known if Elon Musk, his Doge team, and the excellent leadership of President Trump. So check this out as Scott Perry opens up the books and shows us what's really going on underneath the hood. Check this out.
Quite honestly, if our enemies were asked to design a foreign aid program that would actively undermine the United States of America at maximum cost to the taxpayer, they would be hard-pressed to create a scheme more effective than USAID. So the Taliban's in charge. Taliban threatens the lives of the NGO personnel distributing USAID. They claim credit for USAID distribution. They interfere with the distribution of USAID aid. They tax the beneficiary of the aid. They tax the delivery service. They steal the food commodities. They divert the funds. They extort citizens for protection for USAID aid. They create sham procurement schemes, and they threaten the lives of those who oppose those schemes. Now, that all occurred before August of 2021, when we were there. Now, you know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You could just read. The Taliban is classified, and if you don't know, the Taliban's in charge of Afghanistan. They're classified as a specially designated global terrorist organization by OFAC. So post-2021, so this is last year, 2024, we spent $697 million of the taxpayers' dollars in Afghanistan, including $534,719,000 in change from USAID in Afghanistan. I don't know what we think we're going to change in Afghanistan. We lost 22,000, lost or wounded 22,500 Americans in Afghanistan over the course of our term there in the war, spending over $2 trillion. We're just going to keep on spending because somehow we think it's going to get better. And if you're wondering who's in charge of Afghanistan getting the money, and that money I just mentioned, the $697 million is on top of, and is in addition to the weekly to every 10-day shipments in cash of $40 to $80 million.
Did you hear that? $40 to $80 million every 10 days in shipments of cash to these people. Almost $500 million sent to Afghanistan. This is after we've already got our stuff out. And remember who took over when we left. It was like a vacuum that was sucked up by the worst group in the region. And see, this is why they wanted Kamala Harris to win. This is also why they were stalling Israel. They literally were helping those folks in that region build up their weaponry. Do you really think it's a mistake that we left all those jets and all of those tanks and all of that stuff? Or was it done on purpose to give them additional equipment? Makes you wonder. And then we negotiated where we got back 6 hostages. You remember that? And we gave them $6 billion. Now, granted, you know, what's the price you put on a life? It's priceless. But those were the type of negotiation skills the Biden administration had. So it seems as if they were trying to do it on the low-key tip, enrich these folks to help them build up their weaponry, their military, their financial base. It's crazy. Almost $1 billion. And they're getting $40 to $80 million every 10 days while we got homeless veterans. We got people living on the street. We got fires burning down cities. We got American citizens getting $700 when an act of God comes through and wipes out their neighborhood. They're getting $700, and the Taliban is getting billions. These folks make me sick. I know you've heard me say that in other videos, and I dislike allowing myself to get that emotional because it's all about the information. But this is why putting this information out and people like you watching it, learning and realizing, and myself learning and realizing. So when we're speaking to other people, we can do it wholeheartedly, knowing that we're standing on truth. Men lie, women lie, but the data, the truth doesn't need an alibi. And these are the facts. So when they keep saying, oh, Elon Musk and Doge, nobody knows what they're doing. Not only do they have an X page where it lists every single thing they're doing every day, on the website, it shows you every single account that they're going into, why they froze it, what they were spending the money on, and how much money was spent. Never been more transparency I'm talking about in an administration. I don't think ever. I can't judge the Washington and Andrew Jackson days. That's just way too far back. But I know in the modern era, I'm sure in the 20th and the 21st century, this is the most transparent administration ever. You've got a superpowered juggernaut. You got the richest man in the world and a highly intelligent man with one of the most courageous men in the world in President Trump. That is a dynamic duo. That's better than Shaq and Kobe, Jordan and Scottie Pippen. But I digress.
Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarajuddin Haqqani. The Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden, who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan, because Pakistan's right next door. USAID spent $840 million in the last 20 years on Pakistan's education-related program. It includes $136 million to build 120 schools, of which there is zero evidence that any of them were built. Why would there be any evidence? The Inspector General can't get in to see them. But you know what? We doubled down and spent $20 million from USAID to create educational television programs for children unable to attend the physical school.
Wow.
Yeah, they can't attend it because it doesn't exist. You paid for it. Somebody else got the money. You are paying for terrorism. This has got to end. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, this is just maddening. Did you hear that? Over $130 million to build a school that was never built. And you heard earlier, we said $20 million to create a show for the kids who were unable to attend the school that was never built. So where's all of this money going? Where's it going? If none of these things are getting built, we know where it's going. It's funding our opposition, and it's got to stop. It has got to stop. It requires people like you and I to do our part. And see, that's the thing. Oftentimes people think that they're powerless, but we are powerful. All it takes for us is to each one teach one. That's all. If we can help the light come on in our family members and our friends, we're not trying to sway anybody, but just laying the facts out in front of them. And it's really amazing how all of these people who are Joe Biden and Kamala Harris supporters and stands, all of a sudden now this stuff is coming out. They want to move on from the Biden administration. Oh, that's in the past. That's old. That's in the past. That's old. But the whole Biden administration, they just kept bringing up Trump stuff. But now it's 3 weeks that Joe Biden's been out of office. And, oh, that's old. Everything is old now. We don't need to talk about anything. The prices, energy costs, everything is on Trump now. And they demand that he gets it done within his first 3 weeks. You mean tell me inflation isn't at zero? And Trump's been in for 3 weeks while Joe Biden got it as high as 9.3%, and those same people stayed silent. While illegal immigrants flooded our doggone borders, now everybody just cares so much about these immigrants while they were coming across, getting transported by coyotes, young girls getting taken advantage of and assaulted, over 500,000 children still missing that can't be found. And you didn't hear a leftist cry peep. But now we got somebody in there that's actually doing the job, doing the work. And all they want to do is try to muck it up. And they've admitted that that is their only strategy, to delay and obstruct. So we can't fall for the BS. These fake headlines and storylines they put out. And if you want to know who's funding the media, look at their commercials. Wait to the end and hear who they say that's sponsored by. And you'll find it's the pharmaceutical industry. And you'll find out it's the pharmaceutical industry and USAID. Oh, my bad. I forgot. Sam Bankman-Fried, you know, the crypto thief that stole like $30 billion, allegedly, even though he's been convicted and sentenced to prison. He's in prison with P. Diddy. You know, he was a huge campaign donor in 2020 and had already committed $1 billion to the 2024 campaign. So when he got busted running his illegal fraud cryptocurrency scheme out of the Bahamas, when he got busted and taken down, that Democrat piggy bank shrunk. And then we saw what happened with Kamala. She ran through the $1.5 billion that was raised, and then the $1 billion in super PAC money ran through that in 3 months, ended up with a $20 million debt. So these lefty lunatics are destroying themselves, but I wanted to jump in and share with you the fireworks that's happening on the Congress floor. So if you ever wonder if your congressional members are working for you, always check the channel, because I enjoy watching those hearings, and I'll make sure I'll bring it to you. And if they're not, we're going to bring them to task and hold them accountable. But if they are, we got to give them a salute and give them their just dues, right? So I appreciate you watching this video. Again, I'm Brian Maxwell saying thank you. Make sure you hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out.